Welcome to the stream. We are at Kentucky. I got my good friend with me tonight. John Hine is going to walk me through the night. John, what are we expecting tonight in Kentucky? Welcome to the show. We're going to give this a heck of a try, but what are we expecting tonight, John?
Well, this is a fun track here that's going to challenge these drivers. They're going to be fighting, not wanting to overdrive the corners because they invite you to do so, but you're going to find that these cars probably are going to feel a little tight. They're going to feel that these cars are probably a little tight getting in and a little loose coming off. That back end is really, really tough to keep planted on the track, so it's going to be very challenging for these drivers tonight.
Yeah, man, it looks like in practice, Littleton at the top of the board, who's currently the points leader. Radford is second, so they're 1-2 in the points, 1-2 on the board. What are you looking at from those two cats?
Yeah, those two have been trading the points lead back and forth all season long here, and I expect it to go down to the final race of the season, to be quite honest with you. And once these guys get qualified in here, and I can't wait to see where they start. And yeah, it'll be a fight.
Yeah, and we're waiting for those cars to come out on the track. Welcome to Extreme eSpeed TV. I am filling in tonight. Again, my good friend, should be a familiar voice on the air with us, with John Hines. We will follow the cars as they come out on the track for qualifying. We're going with Roy Hyde in the 00 machine. Good looking.
Roy's got, I was about to say, Roy's got one of my favorite paints in this series.
You know me, good looking military tribute paint on that 00
Absolutely.
ride. We will leave the board up so you can see as the cars time in. We will be bouncing around. Looks like
the best part, and Joe, the best part about that Roy Hyde machine, if you can get a shot of the side of it, World War II pilots used to have their kills marked on their planes. Well, he's got some kills right there behind that left front tire, and it's awesome.
Yeah, how cool is that, man? Let's see how Roy times in his first lap. Looks like Roy Hyde at the top of the board, 31.53. We'll follow along with the 66, the pink ride of Chris Berg out on the track in the 66. Radford now takes over the lead, John.
Yeah, Troy's up at the top, and that's where he needs to be. He lost some points last week, so he needs to gain them back. And I tell you, this would be a great time to get the pole.
Looks like, where did Littleton go? Radford now P2, the 55 of Baker with a 31.16 to the top of the board. Looks like the field is full of cars out on the track. We're getting ready to go racing here not too long. John, thanks for joining me, man. Again, you're going to have to walk me through this. I'll probably lean on you more than your regular announcer, but we're going to get this done over the next 3 weeks.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to this. It's been you and I have known each other for quite a while, and I think this is our first time to work together. And I'll be honest, I think it's long overdue.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. I was super excited. I said I wasn't going to come on the air and tell everybody that I've never called a NASCAR race. I'm more on the dirt side, but man, I can't thank Extreme eSpeed TV for giving me the opportunity. This is my first journey on the hard surface as a broadcaster, so it's going to be really cool, man. I'm really looking forward to the next couple weeks.
Yeah, like I said, so am I, and for no other reason than, like I said, just our first time working together, and even though we've known each other for a long time, and well, it's like I said, long overdue. But well, those times are filling in here, and Brian Littleton, he times in about 8th here tonight. But I'm going to tell you something about Brian. Brian is a guy that races incredibly smart. He's a guy that always seems to hang around, let's say about 5th to maybe 8th, 9th place, like the whole race. And then when the pay window comes up, all of a sudden he's in the top 5, and that's how he's got to be on top of the points. So just because he's down the list a little bit here, don't write him off. Troy Radford, is going to still sitting there P2. Those two are going to cross paths tonight at some point for sure.
Yeah, he's fallen all the way down to 10th, John. So this might be a good opportunity for the 94 of Radford to make up some points. So we'll have to see how that plays out, man. We're following along with Derek Myers in the 24 machine. Looks like we have a group of cars on the track. 26 cars joining the show tonight. This is the last car on the track that I am seeing for qualifying. Baker, Radford, Mefford, Blankenship, Rigsby are your top five. Again, Radford, the 94 machine, is currently second in the points. And your points leader, the 80 of Littleton, he times in 10th quick. As you heard John mention, a lot can happen coming back through that field. So this will be an exciting night. We got some that are going to try to make up points.
Yeah, and the guy currently on top of the board there, Steve Baker, I do believe he has more wins than anybody this season. So we've got a strong field. Chris Berg, Dustin Ping is in here, Dale Osmond, Roy Hyde, all these guys, Chris Spencer, they've all won races, Hunter Tate. So this has been a very diverse series with a lot of different winners, which has made it very, very fun to, from my standpoint, getting to watch them all season. There's so many races, Joe, that Travis and I were up here and we literally did not know who was going to win the race until maybe the last lap. I mean, it has been an unbelievable season from these guys. They, we've had, one caution races, we've had no caution races. These guys run really smart. Uh, I'm a dirt guy like you, but I'll tell you, this is a series I would like to be a participant in. These guys, look like they have a lot of fun and race exceptionally well.
Yeah, John, can you tell us a little bit about the NextGen series? How many weeks? What's it all about? Anybody out there that wants to join, how do they go about doing so?
Well, I would say first to sign up, they need to probably look them up there in iRacing and put an invitation out and see if it gets accepted and whatnot. I've lost track of how many races are in, but they for the most part follow the Xfinity series in the real world schedule. A lot of the same tracks in the same weeks and stuff like that. Um, but they're all, but they're about half distance, and they don't go the full distance like tonight. I know they don't go to Kentucky anymore, but tonight's 100 laps, and that's pretty normal here. So the races boil down to this. I mean, pit strategy almost comes in every week. You got guys that will short pit. You got guys that will go out and run a full stint on their tires, and it mixes it up every week. Um, some weeks the short pitting is the right call and works well. Sometimes staying out also works well. I haven't really seen a rhyme or reason to which kind of track favors one or the other. I'm sure that some luck and circumstance kind of plays into how things fall there, with cautions and stuff like that. But these guys, like I said, it has been an outstanding series, and I always like to call guys, we all run our own series, and it seems like about every series has their knuckleheads in it. I don't think this one does. This one, like I said, top to bottom, extremely competitive. Everybody minds their P's and Q's, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I think you're really going to really enjoy these next 3 weeks here. Absolutely. And you know what? Having a couple guys not qualify is nothing unusual here. That takes place every week. And there's a couple guys that are back there that have not qualified yet. Matt McKeegan, Dale Osmond. I know they're back there 22, 23, but I'm going to tell you they won't stay there for long. But yeah, this is a fun track, and they're going to have lots of opportunities to pass. I do expect to see some two wide racing too. There are plenty of places to set your passes up and complete them cleanly. So you know, I haven't had it. This is a newer the NASCAR tracks that iRacing has. I don't have too many laps on here. I've been a member of iRacing for 10 years, and I ran the NASCAR stuff before dirt came along, and I think right about the time dirt came along, I think is when this track came along. I think it was pretty close to the same area. So you know, it's a fun track. I kind of wish I would have gotten to run here a little bit more. I I I can get it. Yep. Ah, gotcha. Well, while you do that, I'll give the folks the grid. But we're going to start right here on the pole. Is going to be the 55. That's going to be Steve Baker. To his outside is going to be the number 94. That's Troy Radford. And the second row tonight is going to be the number 83 of Brandon Mefford. Next to him will be the number 5 of Dylan Blankenship. And in the 81, Justin Rigsby will round out the top 5. But to his outside is going to be the number 9 of Travis Smith. Starting in the 7th position here tonight is going to be the 24 of Derek Myers. Next to him will be the 66. That's Chris Berg. The next row is going to be the number 1, Dustin Ping, and our points leader going to be rounding out the top 10. That's the number 80. That's Brian Littleton. Starting 11th on the field tonight is going to be the number 8 of Hunter Tate. Next to him will be the number 11. That's Chris Spencer. Next row is going to be the number 51 of Damian Patton, and that military tribute paint, that's going to be the 00. That's Roy Hyde. Starting in the 15th position is going to be the number 27 of Nathan Bishop. Next to him will be Brian Miskell Jr. in the 33. And the following row is going to be Doug Wykowski and Jimmy Hetrick. Starting in the 10th row is going to be the number 57 of Damian Cox in the 19th position, and the 30 of Bobby Hetrick will round out your top 20. Starting in 21st, your last car to take a time is going to be the number 85 of Jess Stiles, and then next to him will be the 41 of Matt McKeegan. And the next row in the 23rd position will be the 88 of Dale Osmond, and next to him will be the number 31. That's Chris Meadows. Rounding out your field tonight in the 13th and final row is going to be the number 22 of Matt Kopp. And next to him will be the number 4. That's Mike Massengill. 26 cars due to battle here, Joe. It's they're all getting them warmed up on pit road, and they're about ready to turn them loose. Well, I'm gonna pick the low-hanging fruit, and I'm gonna take the two boys up there in that front row. I think Baker, if he's turned a quick lap in qualifying here, he's probably gonna be pretty tough to beat. And Troy Radford is just fast everywhere, also. So I think those two are gonna be definitely the guys to beat. But I'll tell you, some for some sleepers back in the field, that 88 of Dal Osmond would be one. I'd also keep an eye on someone like a Hunter Tate or even a Dustin Ping here. So, I'm leaving a lot of guys out that can win this thing. Like I said, very diverse. We've had a lot of different winners here tonight. I could go through and almost not go wrong with picking almost every one of these guys. So they would all be reasonable picks. So the only way to find out is we're going to have to run 100 laps and see who's standing at the end.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. The field is gathering behind the paced car. We're getting ready to go green here momentarily. Up front, as John said, Steve Baker and Troy Radford in the 55 and 94 on that front row. Again, second place in the points is Radford in that 94 machine. Top 5 in points, Littleton, Radford, Travis Smith, Chris Spencer, and Chris Mefford. And the pace car is off. John, as the leader, the 55 of Steve Baker, is going to bring us to the green flag. He makes the turn, coming towards the green flag.
Green, green, green.
Green flag is out. We are underway. The 55 gets out to a little bit of a lead early. You got almost single file in the front. Behind them, John, it looks like 2 by 2 by 2. Little bit of moving around in the back. Up front, 55 is getting away a little bit. The 81 tucking in. Justin Rigsby tucking into the back of the 55. Looks like he's going to come out of this. We'll go on board. See if we can't get a ride with the 81, currently running in the 3rd position.
Yeah, in the first couple laps. Yeah, as I say, in the first couple laps here, these guys really have to tippy-toe because I told you about the back end not really being in the track until the tires come up to temperature. Yeah, the cars will dance around a little bit. They got to be a little bit careful getting back in the throttle and not losing the back end. But these guys seem to have managed that, and they should be getting pretty close to be able to actually go racing now here and not have to be so careful.
Saw the 3rd place, the 83 machine, get up into the wall a little bit there. I believe it was the 83. Up front, top 2 breaking away. Steve Baker and Justin Rigsby pulling away from the field a little bit. It looks like we have gotten nose to tail. The 66 dives down low. He's going to try to make it too wide, getting underneath Dylan Blankenship in that 5 machine. As you said, John, maybe those tires coming up the temp. Now we're starting to get a little bit racy up towards the front. Might be time to go too wide. Start making your way to the front.
Yeah, 100 laps seems like it's quite a while, but trust me, these races seem to go by pretty quickly here. And, everybody needs to make sure they're in a good position because, to win at the end, you got to be in position to do so. And you can't do it being mid-pack or back here. You've got to try to get up to, I would say, anywhere in the top, maybe 8, maybe 10. Keep those leaders within sight here because when they do pits, and if somebody's short pits, they could be up to a second a lap faster than the guys that'll stay out, So, that's where it always gets really, really interesting. But these guys have settled in here, and, Travis and I have seen this time and time again. They settle in, click laps off, and next thing you know, it's lap 45, 50 before we see a caution.
Looks like that 8 car's getting a little bit loose, sliding wide on the outside. He's outside the 80 machine of Littleton. So don't know if he's given the leader some room or if that car is currently a handful. Have to wait till the tires come in and see if maybe, is this open or fixed setup, John?
This is fixed, and I'll tell you, the entrance to turn 3 is tricky because it really, you want to talk about inviting you to overdrive because you can take a nice wide angle and you can feel like you could just drive it right down to the apex, but you can't. And then on exit, that wall will come out at you too pretty quickly if you swing out. So I would say that's the trickier of the 2 corners down there.
Up front, Baker still leading the way. Now he's putting a little gap between himself and Rigsby up front. They were close, pulling away from 3rd place Myers, and it looks like they're still gonna keep pulling away a little bit. So they're starting to get away from the field a little bit here, John.
Yeah, they are, and the thing is too, that's going to afford someone like Steve who he can start controlling the race. So that means he can take whatever line he does. He doesn't abuse the tires. It's so much easier to care for your stuff when you're out front like that, clean air. It's not making your car push, not using up your right front. Those guys in the back there, they've got to be careful. They're racing hard, trying to get up through the field. You don't want to use that stuff up. If you abuse your tires the first 20 laps of a run, you will really pay for it at the end of the run.
Yeah, it looks like he's taken kind of a wide entrance there. And making that line work. He's going in a little bit wider and cutting that corner a little bit more than is Rigsby behind him.
Yeah, and that allows him not to put as much wheel into it to turn. And the more wheel you put into the car, these cars, the more you're going to use, lean on that right front to turn the car. When you do that, obviously the tire wear goes up. And Baker, right now, the line he's taken is definitely helping his tires and being nice to his tires. But we got a good battle for third now.
Yes, we do. That's where the camera's at. Derek Myers, Radford, and Berg battling it out. The 24, the 94. It looks like the 94 of Troy Radford will take over that position in the third. Derek Myers dropped back to fourth. Chris Berg in fifth.
In fact, all those guys back there were not up on that bottom. They all kind of washed up a little bit. So they are all trying to take care of their stuff and not really pinching it down on the bottom here.
Take a look at the suspension cam. You can see Derek Myers. The 66 is closing in. Those two are super close together. Good look at the side of that 66 machine. 66 on the outside, 24 of Derek Myers on the inside. Looks like Littleton has kind of stayed right where he started. He's back in 10th. That's where he currently runs. We are working lap 12 of 100, so we do have a ways to go. Chris Spencer in front of your points leader in that 11 machine. It looks like maybe Brian's just riding back there, John, waiting for his opportunity.
Yeah, and I said this on towards the top of the show. This is a guy that hangs around, that 8th to 10th place position in the whole race, it seems. And when that dinner bell or that pit window opens, he somehow always seems to find his way back to the top 5 rapidly here. So I'm not too worried about him yet. And I mean, he sees his competitor there, Bradford, about 5-6 cars up, so he can see the guy he's battling the points there. So no sense of urgency right now. Just make sure you get to the end of this thing if I'm in his shoes.
You're not missing much up front as Steve Baker is running a pretty good race out front. Got a good lead on Big Rigsby. The 94 of Troy Radford, we saw his battle for third position. John, he's closed up on that 81. Once he got third, it did not take him long to close in on that 81 machine.
No, it didn't. And they're running a little bit different lines, too. So, one I think is evidently working a little better than the other, I think, or suiting the driving style. But, boy, he right through the center right there. He just closes right up even further on that 81 car.
Trying to look at the lap times. They are running a dead equal lap, Rigsby and Radford, with the 32.80. Your leader ran a 32.83. So these two, John, are closing in on Baker a little bit. Maybe Baker is slowing down to save his tires. I'm not real sure, but last time by, they were a lot faster. Now we're closing in. 33.22 for your leader. 32.84 for third place, Troy Radford. So those guys closing in on the leader.
And Rigsby took a big chunk out of that, too, on the entrance of that corner. I think he overdrove it a little bit because while he closed up on corner entry, he gave it all back on corner exit. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Baker's not in there and doesn't have his relative up and just trying to manage the gap. That would, like I said, that wouldn't surprise me at all. But, all three of these guys are in a good spot. You touched on it. We're not even 20 laps into this thing, so all kinds of time left.
You can hear Dylan Blankenship riding on board with the 5 machine. Way off the throttle, lets it coast through the corner.
Yeah, and if you look at the lap times, these guys, Blankenship just ran a 33.04. Well, they qualified at a 31.3 and 31.1 for the pole. That's a long time, and we're only 18 laps in. So those tires, those that took care of their tires those first 10 laps or so are going to be feeling good about right now. And now the guys that probably ran it a little hard, they're going to start to feel it.
Looks like Dale Osbon up 5 positions from his start in that 88 machines. He's your current biggest mover. We haven't seen anybody really advance through the field in huge chunks, but the 88 has moved up 5. Looks like he's all over the back of Jeff Stiles in the 85, that red car. Yes, Osbon dives down low.
And we did have Radford moved into second the last time they went through turn 2 about a lap ago. He did get around that 81, so while there's no challenge up front yet, but we'll have to monitor and see if he can reel in Baker there.
Yeah, we'll keep a close eye on that. I'm looking at he is quicker than your leader, John. Last time by 32.99 for Radford and a 33.09 for Steve Baker. So if he's saving tires, and we have a long way to go. So I think Radford's going to catch that 55 here in about 2 or 3 laps at the rate he's going.
Yeah, and Rigsby's still in tow there too. So, you know, the tires could be the equalizer here this last part of this run here.
John, how big's the draft here at Kentucky? How big a role does that play?
It does. You can catch a draft down the straightaways here, and then you got to be careful when you do it, especially down the back straightaway, because if you get a big draft, and then all of a sudden you're carrying more speed than what you're accustomed to once you get into 3, you're going to wash right up the track pretty easy. And, you know, there's not that big of a, you know, you don't get that arrow push in the corners here like maybe some like an Atlanta or something. But, yeah, it's I would say it's minimal to moderate effect, maybe. That's probably where I'd quantify it.
83 car, Brandon Mefford fell back 7 positions from his start in the 83, riding currently in 10th position. Baker, Radford, Rigsby, Myers, and Berg are your top 5. The 66 machine moving up 3 from his starting position, as did the 24 of Derek Myers. He's up 3 from his start. Take a look at Littleton, John. He's starting to come through the field a little bit. He's up 2 now from the start, so he has gotten by Chris Spencer. We watched him ride behind that 11 car, but he has gotten by the 11.
And that's his MO. Just sneaky fast is what I would call him. He reminds me of Kevin Harvick. You don't really, you know, there's occasions where you dominate all day, which, you know, Brian does. And then, but for the most part, it's, you know, at the end of these things, Travis and I have been, you know, hey, where'd he come from? You know, the closer, that kind of deal.
We'll check the back of the pack. Looks like we got Matt Kopp back there in the 22 machine, riding behind Damian Cox in the 57. When do you expect pit stops, John?
I would say maybe lap 35 to 50, maybe. Right there, I know it's an awful big window here, but like I said, I've seen some of these guys short pit and you know, some of the different strategies. But I'll tell you this, we got a battle for the lead.
So Baker and Radford at the top of the board. The 94 car has closed in. We've watched him throughout the broadcast. He's been closing the gap ever so slightly each lap. He is still now just a touch faster. It was a 21 to a 23 last time by. He has closed up to the back of your leader, Steve Baker.
Yeah, and he doesn't really, he's being patient here. He's not really looking up there to try to force the issue or you know, he doesn't have that look of, hey, I want to lead right now about him. I think he's just measuring them out, seeing, you know, where am I better? Where can I make a clean pass? Like I said, these guys all tend to race really smart here. And, oh, Baker's a little loose there, and that's going to give Radford a run.
They're going to be side by side for the lead. Radford in that 94 machine. He's worked his way through the field. He started P2, fell back a little bit early. Now the front two, this is the front row that you spoke about, John. Those two are battling it out. Radford took a look down low, did not make the pass. Decided to fall back, but the 24 car coming behind him just saw the 24 put a pass on the 81 of Justin Rigsby. So the 24 car is coming through the field.
Right now, I'll tell you up front though, that 55 is really struggling off of turn 2. I'm watching the back of that car get really light, and that's giving Radford a run down the backstretch into turn 3. But Radford, what he needs is to be able to walk up the track, but he can't because the 55 is there, and the 55 is able to pick up the throttle maybe a little bit earlier because he's on the higher side and is able to get a run and clear him back down the front stretch. But this time he got through everything all right, and it looks like he's going to hold it and not have any kind of challenge.
Yeah, it looks like Radford is going a little bit higher in 4 with a lower exit where you got the nose cam of Radford currently, John. If we see that 55 car move around, this would be the camera to see it for sure as these two battle it out.
Yeah, the last 2 times through there, the 55 has settled down a little bit and probably just changing the way that he's driving, you know, figuring out how much throttle to give the car to, you know, make sure it stays what he wants. Because the last couple times now he's been on the bottom through 3 and 4 when he was up probably a whole lane higher the previous 2 when Radford was challenging him. But it's really smart driving. That's one of the toughest things to do as a driver is change what you do because, you know, so much is timing. You get into a rhythm. It doesn't matter if you're on dirt or asphalt. You get into a rhythm, and as the track changes or as your tires give up, you can't run as hard as what you did on lap 5, and you've got to adjust. And some guys have troubles adjusting. Some guys don't. Look at this.
55 is going
in
to the pits, I think, isn't he?
Yep.
So those tires might have been really bad as the 55 pulls off of the raceway down to pit lane, giving the lead over to Troy Radford. Will that start a convoy to pit road? We will see here this time by. Who else takes that exit? Looks like Rigsby, he just passed the 24. It's usually a follow the leader type deal. 94 is off the speedway down on pit road. Derek Myers in that 24 machine takes over first place.
And Nathan Bishop's in. Looks like just a couple here. And like I said, these pit strategies with this group are always all over the board. And it's so fascinating to watch these races unfold when they do this.
Derek Myers at the top of the board. We will see how many follow your leader. Currently, what did we say, 3 have gone down pit road so far. Your front row that John and I spoke about earlier, both of those cars headed to pit road. We will see where they come out. Trying to look at my board here.
And I'm kind of watching Baker myself here to see what kind of lap time that he's on his out lap here. We'll post a legitimate time. He's going to clear Radford, and he's going to put a little distance on Radford as Radford comes out of the pits here. But Baker is see what kind of lap time, and then I'm going to go back up and look at the leader. Littleton is coming in. It looks like a few guys are in pit road now.
So last time by, Baker with a 31.48. Your leader, Derek Myers, with a 31.63.
Meyer must have pitted.
He is still out on the lead with Travis Smith in P2 in the 9 machine. The 9 is off the throttle. He's coming to pit road, giving away second place. Chris Spencer now moves up to P2. Derek Myers, he's running that 24 car a long way. You see the 30 car making a pass.
Yeah, and his
Bobby
last
Hedrick.
lap, I'm showing, Derek Myers' last lap was a 33.4. And I go back now and look at Baker, and his is a 31.8. So that is a huge time difference that he's given up each lap.
We just saw the 30 car who was on pit road not long ago go by the 24 up into the fence, John. He got up into that outside wall at the exit of 4. So he needs to get to pit road in a big hurry, it appears. Scraped up the side of that 24.
That probably will bring him to pit road.
Spencer Myers in P2 in the 11. So both these cars were working lap 37 of 100. Now you're going to have a bunch of cars on different pit strategies. So you're going to see a big change in speed between some.
Here comes Meyer. Meyer finally brings it in.
24 car on pit road. You can see the side of that machine scraped up a little bit there. That will give the lead over to the 11 car of Chris Spencer. So Spencer, to the point, has not hit pit road quite yet.
And when this cycles through, the 55 and 94 should be the two backup on the top, and they've gotten right back nose to tail on the track too. So once these cycle through, we're going to have quite the battle for the lead.
Yeah, they're again together again, John. I mean, nose to tail. They got Derek Meyer. He's in pit road. Now they're side by side.
Yeah, and Justin Rigsby is just up the track. Maybe Justin did a two-tire stop and got out in front of him, both of these guys, because he was behind him pre-pit stop. And I don't know if Justin has pitted yet or not. Judging by his lap time, I'd say he has, because he ran just right at a 32.0, and now he's a 31.9. So, yeah, he had to have pitted. Maybe he only took two tires there.
The 94 car is all over the back of the 81. It looks like he's going to stay down low. 81 goes a little bit higher, lets the 94 car by. So as you predicted, these cars have been in the front of the field all night, John, and they're back at the front of the field. Currently running in 4th position. Spencer in that 11 machine is still on the track on lap 40 of 100, followed by the 48 of Hetrick and Dustin Ping in the number 1 machine. Then we fall back to the 94, who has now made the pass, and he is making up a lot of ground, John.
He is, but I'll say this, you know, if the caution came out right now, it'd trap about 10th place on back, a lap down. So, I mean, there's a reason to try to stretch it as far as you can, because if you catch some guys out, you're going to make a lot of ground up on a lot of guys. But when they take their pit, they're also going to have 15 lap newer tires than these other guys, 10, 15 laps newer tires. So they're going to come out going quicker. So the big question is, you know, that whole yo-yo, you know, does it, when it comes back around and they're making up ground at the end of their run, can they get back up towards the front?
Yeah, that speed difference is going to be something. So can you make this in 2 stops? It looks like Chris Spencer might be giving it a shot. He's getting past pretty regularly, so he's a lot slower than these cars that have pitted. I don't know if he can make it in 2.
Well, I would say he's maybe trying to make it in 1. If he can make it 8 more laps out there, that's halfway. You get halfway on a tank of gas. Logic would say, hey, you're good to go.
Yeah, I misspoke. That's what I meant. Can you make it in 1? So he's going to give it a go. He's got 7 laps to go. He is running a 34.02. As we were talking, Troy Radford ran a 32.1. So, man, he is about 2 seconds.
Listen to his in-car. Go in-car on Chris Spencer. He is trying to make it on 1. When they get down to 3 and 4, listen to his engine down in 3 and 4. Unless he comes in here. There it is.
Oh, he is way off the throttle.
He's got his engine off.
Yeah, he's shutting it down, coasting around 3 and 4.
Saving gas. He'll do the same thing down here in 1 and 2. There it is.
He's got a 9-second lead over Hetrick, who's in P2. And I don't think Hetrick has pitted either. I may be wrong.
Yeah, and if these other guys got a pit, you can add, 30 seconds to his lead. That's almost a lap. So,
what a strategy this would be, John.
Yeah, like I said at the top of the show, these guys get nuts with these things, and I've seen all stripes work here. So,
yeah, a lot of strategy. You see different cars running different strategies, as John spoke at the beginning of the show. Troy Radford, so it looks like the 48 Hetrick came in this time by. Radford now is in P2. He has a, how big is the gap? I can't see the gap.
Looks like, according to timing and scoring, it looks like about 17 seconds to Troy Radford's back. But like I said, one stop basically gives him a whole lap lead, because you lose about a lap, 3/4 of a lap at the very least to the leader when you make a pit. But he's got he's going to come around to lap 48, so that means he's got 2 more to get to.
And if you're going to go this far,
he's
coming to pit road. So, wow. I'm thinking if you go to 47, you're committed. But here comes the 11 car. That will give the lead back over to the 94 of Troy Radford. So one of two things I'm thinking, John. He was either waiting for a caution or he was going to go with just one stop. So,
and we don't know how much fuel he had left. If he looked at his pit information, his black boxes, and it said that he still was 5 laps to the good, or even 3 laps or 4 laps to the good, he can make it from here.
Strategy, strategy, strategy. 55 car has fallen back a little bit behind Troy Radford, your leader. 2 seconds between the two. Chris Berg in the 66 has moved up to P3. The 5 car of Dylan Blankenship, he's in P4. Justin Rigsby in the 81 is in P5. We saw the 81 running up with your leaders not too long ago, so he's fallen back through the field a little bit. The 33 car of Mescal, he's battling it out. Goes up high. Derek Myers gets by in that 24. We followed him. He's led quite a few laps tonight. Brian Littleton in that 80 machine is up to P8. He just ran a 31.4 to your leader's 31.6. Travis Smith in the 9 and the 88 of Dale Osbon rounds out your top 10 currently. And we are coming to the halfway point. This is lap 50 of 100. So, great race so far. I know I've learned a ton.
Yeah, these guys are so much fun to watch, and I being a dirt guy, I'd always rather run dirt. But I tell you, watching these guys every week, I really, really want to be on the track with these guys, because I think they just have a blast out here.
Yeah, I'm catching the bug a little bit just watching. As you said, dirt guys it's full throttle, hair on fire for 20 laps and heart beating, and this is kind of neat watching the strategy come into play. You got different pit strategies. We heard the 11 car turning it off, coasting around 3 and 4 to save fuel. So super neat, man. There's a lot of different things that come into play, and this is really cool. Looks like we got a battle between the 55. The 66 has fallen back, so those cars next to the 55. John, I really got to get better at reading this board. We got lap cars and cars, and we got different strategies, and
it's crazy fun, isn't it?
It is very interesting.
Yeah, Chris Berg there is sitting there third, and Berg's got wins on this season, as does, like I said, Baker. I think he has the most wins, but right now Troy Radford is the Pied Piper, so to speak. He's controls everything here, and he is stretching that lead ever so slightly over the 55 every lap here.
He is. That's up to 2.8. So he has 0.8 of a second that he's put on the 55 over the last lap. The 81 car of Rigsby is up to P5. I'm looking for Littleton. There he is in the 80 machine. He's up to P8, John.
Yeah, and he's kind of stalled out there. He's been in P8 for quite a while, and I will. I feel like I should be knocking on wood here, but I guess this is as good time as any to mention we've been caution-free all 55 laps here.
Now you did it. Now you did it.
Yeah, probably the commentator's curse. Someone's about to fence it, I'm sure, and then they'll watch the broadcast and think, man, I really don't like that guy.
John, I'm impressed at the quality of the driving, as you alluded to early in the broadcast, man. This is the type of stuff you'd like to watch when you're watching a sim, because it is not far off the real deal. Some of the races that you and I are in, we see guys just pounding walls and wrecking and going all over the place. This has been high-quality, top-notch driving, man. This is fun to watch.
Yeah, and, you know, I did the truck, our truck broadcast. We were at Daytona last, I think Tuesday it was. And, you know, the difference between the two, well, obviously it's noticeable because, you know, these guys, this is what they do. But, you know, our guys, you know, you just see the inexperience and how you set up a pass and the impatience. And, you know, you said, you know, dirt guys, you're wired to go, 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 go and race hard from the green. And here, you know, dirt's like playing checkers, and this is more like chess. And you've got to be more measured and be patient and set up passes and work them completely different. And these guys have all mastered it. And yeah, every Sunday night when I come in here, I always look forward to these, and just because it's always entertaining to watch. And like I said, I don't know how many they've done so far, but I'm going to go out and say a majority of them we didn't know at 10 to go who was going to win the race. I mean, they've been that close and different things. We thought, well, maybe someone's going to run out of gas, or I mean, it has been crazy what we've seen this season. And a good point of it, we've had so many different winners. I look at the top 10 right now, and I want to say everybody in the top 10 with and I could be wrong here, Blankenship, I think I'm 50-50 if he's won one or not, and the same thing with Rigsby. But everybody else has won races, and then there's some that are way down. Chris Spencer's won races, Dustin Ping, Nathan Bishop, you know, all through this field. Roy Hyde's won them. You know, it's wild to see how many guys have won races here.
Yeah, it's like I said, man, it's just super fun to watch all the strategy. And when you took me on the in-car and I heard an engine turn off, that's like real life stuff going on there. So that's really cool. Up at the top of the board, Radford still leading Baker. Those two have run 1-2 most of the night. Chris Berg in that pink 66 machine is currently in P3 with the 5-car Blankenship. He pulled up to that rear bumper. You can see, I was watching the 94. He's starting to, on turn 4, wash up, or 3 and 4, wash up the track a little bit. But we saw him do that last time because he was getting a lower exit off of 4. But I was wondering, man, I wouldn't think so with only probably 20 laps on his tires. If they have war already, how about we go on board and listen to what's going on inside the...
Yeah, 20 laps in, your tires are worn. They're already backing out. Their lap times now are in the 33-second bracket, where they were in the 31s when they came back out. So now it is a matter of who's handling better. The more you abused them early on in the run, and iRacing, and this goes for anything you're in on asphalt, whether it be the trucks, tour mods, or anything. The first 15 laps of a run, if you're hard on the tires, it absolutely kills the back end of your run. I mean, just obliterates any chance that you have of being consistent and keeping pace. You know, you've got to be so careful with the tires when you bolt them on here. But yeah, they don't take long to wear out. And the more truck races you do, you'll find that out too. Daytona, and I think we're at Talladega this week. You're not going to see as much tire wear, but when they go somewhere like Charlotte and whatnot, you'll realize in a quick hurry that, oh wow, I got a lot of fuel left, and my tires are my fuel's going to last longer than my tires.
Man, I got to tell you. So, yeah, I'm not even in the same class. I had 2 black flags at once and went into the pits. Next thing I heard, I got the wave around. So I had no idea where I was at, what place I was in. These guys are getting after it. I guarantee you every one of them knows where they're at on tires and fuel. As yeah, this is really fun to watch.
Yeah, and they're settled in here, and they got some distance here. So, I mean, this looks like we may actually go flag to flag here. You know, like, again, knock on wood.
Oh, there you went.
Yeah, that Daytona truck race broke my heart. I was running second, my VR blanked out, and I came back with a meatball flag, and it went to clear it, and I got disqualified. But I thought I was going to have a good run there.
I had no clue what kind of run I was going to have, but it was a... Yeah, I'll take a top 10, I guess. Troy Radford still at the front of the board, 2.7 seconds ahead of Steve Baker, who is in P2. Those two have been the class of the field all night. They started on the front row. They've swapped places. Baker started on the pole. He's moved in front, or Baker started on the pole. Radford on the outside. Radford's able to move into first place in that 94 machine. He just passed lap traffic, the 1 car, Dustin Ping. So lap traffic will come into play.
It looks like Baker is peeling off for his second pit.
55 cars coming in on lap 67.
Whoa, I wonder if he got down to pit road speed. Oh, that's going to be interesting to see. He locked them up and had to pitch it sideways to get that car wound up.
We will see if the black flag comes out. 66 now. Chris Berg moves up into P2. He's up 6 from the start. Got the 5 car behind him. Dylan Blankenship followed by Derek Myers.
That Radford followed Baker in the following lap here.
So will we see Chris Spencer? Where is the 11 car? He's back in 16th. Yeah, he gave it a heck of a try last time. That is a long run. We're working lap 68 of 100. But what do you think, John? What strategy is he on?
I'm sure he's going to try to stretch it here once again.
Up front, 66 car takes over the lead. Berg, Blankenship into 5. 24 of Derek Myers up front.
Roy Hyde and looked like Chris Berg, or not Berg, but Osmond has all. They're all on pit road right now too. And Radford is able to beat the 55 out. The gap is closed, but that didn't really matter. I think last time around, Baker beat Radford off, but Radford just drove around him and eventually kind of drove away from him a little bit. So Radford, I think, is, now that he's gotten on and off pit road clean, it's his race to lose.
There is Chris Berg. The 24 car of Derek Myers takes over the lead. The 9 car, Travis Smith in P2. You saw the 55. He came out of Baker came out of the pit lane and passed the 24. So you got new tires versus old tires. It'd be interesting to see how this run turns out. Working lap 70 of 100. The 24 car at the top of the board, followed by the 83. 83 is in for his pit stop.
Yeah, and
got
I'm
a
hearing
host of
several
cars.
cars. I'm hearing several cars shut their cars off. Dustin Ping, he's shutting his car off entering the corners.
24 car up front. Haven't heard from the 22. Matt Kopp, he's in P3. Guess who's up to P2, John? That's the 11 car of Chris Spencer, so he's going to give it another go.
Yeah, he is. And here's the thing. If he made it 47 laps before, that was 3. So he's going to have to make it 6 laps longer than he made. And, you know, if you start fuel saving right from the time you pull off pit road, maybe you can get those 6 laps back. But same strategy as before. He's shutting the car off, rolling through the corners. Buckle up. Here we go. We're going to have to figure out if he can make it.
Let's check in on your leader, see if he's doing the same. Derek Myers. Doesn't look like he's shutting it down.
Yeah, I think he pitted last time, maybe 38 laps in, maybe 40. So he's going to be significantly short of the end, I would think. Well, he is shutting it off.
Up front, 24, followed by Matt Kopp in the 22 machine. There is the black and white 22. Going by the 83, going by on the high side. Troy Radford, he's worked his way back up to, we were just with Troy, P4 in that 94. So the 55 car shouldn't be far behind, and he is not. Steve Baker's currently back in 6th position. So those two are working their way back towards the front. Up front, the 24 car, he can actually stay out a while. He's got a 16-second lead over second place. Oh, I think the 11 might have came in, John.
No, I don't know. He's sitting second, but he's still shutting the car off. If he came in, he would know that he has enough fuel. So I don't think he did come in. Yeah, I'm peeking at his in-car.
Yeah, he's still out there. He's still out there. 16 seconds between him and Myers.
Question, too bad on his dash we can't see a fuel gauge and figure out how much fuel he has left.
I bet he'd like to have a fuel gauge right about now.
He does. You know, for those that may not have iRacing that are tuned in, we have what we call black boxes. And we can actually pull a black box up that will tell us exactly how many gallons of fuel and how many estimated laps we have left on that tank. So we can monitor in real time what kind of fuel mileage that we're getting. He can look up and, you know, and he can calculate it. You know, I've done this many times in these cars. You look up and think, okay, I'm halfway through my fuel. I've run 33 laps. If I run 33 more, I'm good, and there's only 30 left. So now I can go hammer down. I'm sure he's doing all those calculations behind the wheel, and I'll bet you he has that black box pulled up.
These guys have spotters, I would imagine, and crew chiefs possibly, huh?
Well, yeah, they got, at the very least, they got the iRacing spotters, but yeah, some of them do have spotters and stuff like that. So, you know, being a fixed series, I don't know about the crew chiefs. If it was an open one, absolutely. I know there's a lot of crew chief apps out there where you can, all you have to do is, you know, I've heard things of like, say, hey, I need a round of, I need to go down on my pressure on my right side tires. You know, take a pound of pressure out of my right front, and it'll automatically do it for you, so you don't have to mess with the controls. I've never tried one of those, and I mean, in dirt I have very little use for them, but I think it'd be fascinating to try one of those on the asphalt side.
That would be interesting. So Derek Meyer, 15-second lead now over the 11 car. He's currently still in first place. 24 cars getting swallowed up by those cars that have pitted. They are making it around okay. Washes out a little wide there going into turn 1 into the 85's way almost, but the 85 and the 9 make the pass, so they're working their way back up through the field. The 94 car Chris Spencer is still out, as is the 24. See, I'm noticing a lot of dinged up right sides also, John.
Yeah, I touched on it earlier that, you know, when you swing out of turn 4, that wall comes up really quick. And another place that wall can bite you, believe it or not, is coming through the tri-oval, because you want to kind of swing out and take a wide arc going into 1. And as you swing out, if you get a little too aggressive with the swinging out part, you can pancake that wall right on the entrance to turn 1.
Chris Spencer still out on the track. He's running a 31.7 last time by. '55 car closing up on the rear bumper, with Chris Berg in the 66, currently in the 5th position. That 24 is still out there with 18 to go. Let's go on board, John, take a peek. Man, that car is pushing big time. Corner entry.
Yeah, and that's why I said this track is really tough, because that's what it'll want to do on corner entry. But then you're cranking the wheel trying to get the car to turn, and about the time it starts to turn, the back end wants to break loose. So these guys, I know caution-free 80 some odd laps in, they're making it look easy. Trust me, it's not. These guys are just that good. I know I go on about saying, yeah, I'd love to run with these guys, but, you know, what do we do? Start, 26 today? I'd be running around 27th. But yeah, I have fun doing it.
I think I'll stick right where I'm at racing-wise. This is absolutely amazing. So the 11 car is shutting it completely down. Derek Myers, I did not hear. He's on pit road. So the 11 car now, Chris Spencer. We'll listen. He's coming through just past the flag stand, shuts it down.
And he is P4, so, I mean, Radford, Baker, Berg have all gotten around him, so he, I guess, is trying to parlay this maybe into a top 10. I think he had made his bet earlier trying to stretch it to 50, and I think that's kind of dictated his strategy. He's probably begging for a caution about right now. That would just be perfect for him.
Yeah, your pick is running strong. Still 1-2, the 94, the 55. Running at the front of the field, 1-2. Chris Berg been up front all night in the 66 machine. As we mentioned, the 11 car is back in P4. Justin Rigsby in the 81 is behind the 11 machine in P5. Dale Osborne in the 88, currently running in P6, followed by Mescal in the 33 machine. Brandon Littleton, he's been stuck between 8th, 9th, 10th position. That is your points leader in the 80, currently running in P8 with Hunter Tate behind him in that 8 machine. And Travis Smith in the number 9 car will round out your top 10. And we are 14 laps to go.
Yeah, they go by in a hurry, especially when there's no cautions. But I got to tip my hat to these guys. Amazing to sit there and watch these guys on a track that's really not that easy to get around, and yet all of them have done this. And, you know, and it's just not being able to keep the car under you, you know, like on the start in those first few laps, and there's a lot of battles on the track. These guys, what they do better than anything is give and take. You know, they really work with each other on the track. I see it all the time. You know, when they fight when they have to. I mean, I've seen guys make their car extremely wide when they need to. But you know what? If it's lap 10 or something, it's like old school NASCAR. The Mark Martin kind of rule. Okay, you're quicker than me now. Go on by, and hopefully maybe a little bit later when my tires come in, I'll be quicker than you. And you see a lot of that in this league, and man, it really makes these races fun.
So what's the next step up for a driver that comes out of this league? What are they shooting for?
I don't know. I would just imagine I think these guys are all buddies, and just they've put a lot of laps in. I'm gonna bet that they'll come back next year, and you're gonna see a lot of the same.
Wonder if they'll run the Road to Pro. We had one of the C2C guys tried the Road to Pro, and that was kind of an interesting process. So I wonder, I wonder what the motivation is. Just come out and run with your buddies?
And maybe some of them do that. I think a couple of these guys for sure probably have the talent to do it, but iRacing, that's the beauty about iRacing. It can be, if you're a casual fan and you just want to come turn some laps at some of the tracks where you watch your favorite drivers, guess what? You can come do that. If you want to get serious and make it a full-on sim and be a, I hate to say this, but quote, sim racer, you can take it serious and spend a lot of money on some really good equipment and go out the whole 9 yards and get the full experience of basically being a race car driver without having to fix your car every week.
Did you see that article? What Majestic maybe? Majeski won a truck race coming out of iRacing, so that's kind of cool stuff.
William Byron got discovered and got his whole racing career started on iRacing too, and he's up at the Cup Series. I've talked to a lot of guys that race in the real world in various series, and I myself have raced in the real world, and I run dirt cars in the real world, and iRacing's got it pretty spot on. The only thing that you really don't feel are the G-forces when you dive into the corner, and trust me, those, if you've never felt those before, that's where the men become men and the boys become men. When you dive into a corner and something's wanting to throw you out of the seat and out the passenger window, that's where the nerves of steel comes in to keep your foot in it and drive through that. But the bumps and stuff like that, I mean, that stuff, you can't simulate, but the characteristics of the track and the cars are pretty close to spot on. A lot of the stuff that I do with my hands and my feet are close to what I do, what I have done in a real world car. Now, how I apply them are a little different. On the dirt, the cars go through this look completely different than what they would do it in real life. We don't take rubber and that kind of stuff yet, but iRacing's getting there, and I don't think we're off too far in the distance where driving one of these in the sim are going to be no different than driving one in the real world. Like I said, minus maybe the G-forces.
Yeah, that's super cool. I actually filled G-forces. My wife came upstairs one night, and I about fell out of a computer chair. So I had to get a racing seat to keep me from leaning over too far.
Yeah.
So that's crazy fun. Meanwhile, up front, Troy Radford still leading. Stephen Baker in P2. Chris Berg in the 66 is still holding fast in P3.
Yeah, we're at the pit window too.
We got 5 to go.
Window, but the pay window. And sorry to interrupt, but real quick, a surprising retirement. Derek Myers, who we saw lead a little bit of this, he has taken his car back to the garage and is out of the race.
I wonder what that is all about. That would be interesting to know.
Well, luckily, I can go back and look here real quick and see if we can see maybe what happened to him.
Your points leader, Brian Littleton, with 4 laps to go, has moved up to P7. He is, next car in line is the 11 car of Spencer. Up front, Radford leading the way. Got a 4.9 second gap between himself and second place Steve Baker. Chris Berg is the final podium position at the current moment. The 81 car of Justin Rigsby is the first car on the outside looking in at a podium. He's got Dale Osborne behind him in the 88. Those are your top five. As your leader is coming down to take the 2 to go. The 94 is holding strong. That lead is down now, just was under 5 seconds.
Yeah, at this point, Radford just needs to keep it, you know, between the grass and the walls, basically, and he's got it. But I went back, I looked at Meyer. He just pulled in the pits and called it a night. I didn't see him get into the wall on the previous lap before his pit stop, so hopefully everything is all right there. And maybe, I mean, it also could have been a hardware issue. You know, I said the other night I, you know, had the dreaded blue screen that popped up and killed my truck race. But guess who's coming to the white flag?
Your 94 car of Radford's run up front all night. Final lap for the 94, got a 4.99 second gap between himself. Second place, Steve Baker. Chris Berg is the final podium driver in that 66 machine. Justin Rigsby is 4 seconds behind third place. So if he's going to get it done, something's going to have to happen. Radford in the 94. It looks like Radford, the Linda Haney Memorial 150, the 94 of Troy Radford, followed by Baker and Chris Berg. Justin Rigsby in P4. Dale Osborne in P5 in that 88 machine. Spencer Littleton. Littleton was able to move up to P7.
Yeah, when we come back next week, that's going to mean we are going to have a nail-biter of a championship race. How about that? Caution-free, man. What a way to introduce you to a NASCAR race here in iRacing.
You know, I'd like to say, yeah, the 94 is going to burn it down. Much deserved. He started on the outside of row number 1, and he brought it home P1. We will get a chat. John, I'll let you take third and first. I'll take the middle for interviews if that works for you.
Absolutely.
We will take a look at your finishing grid. As soon as I dial it in here. So Troy Radford takes home the victory, followed by Baker, Berg, Rigsby, Osborne, Spencer, Littleton, Mescal, Smith, and Hyde are your top 10. But we will get a word with those drivers as soon as they come up into the booth.
And we should give a shout out to Dale Osmond there. He started 23rd and was to drive all the way up to 5th. And I believe he's not one of the guys. He's one of the guys that didn't even lay a qualifying time down and is able to drive his way through the field. So an outstanding run for that 88 car.
John, you ready to get a word with our winners here? It looks like we have been joined by Baker and Berg.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get a hold of Chris Berg here real quick. Hey, Chris, this is John up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I've got you loud and clear.
Well, man, I tell you, another caution-free race here. You guys have done this a few times this season, but this one, I have to say, was done on I guess I could just say a tricky track. Talk to me about your race and how did it go here, and what kind of strategy did you employ from a pit strategy?
It went a lot better than what I thought because I hate this place. The reconfiguration, repave that they did compared to the old legacy track, I've just never been able to figure it out. And so my plan was to split it like 35 and 35. So pit on lap 35, pit on lap 70 if we went green, and hopefully newer tires would be able to gain. It worked out decent, got third, ran up there, but it was a tough race, but it was a lot of fun.
Well, hey, a podium, especially with this group of guys, is definitely something to hold your head high about. Next week we go over to Dover. You said you don't like Kentucky. Well, what do you think of Dover?
Dover is one of the best tracks to race at if nobody, or if no one else runs into each other. We'll have a couple accidents, but if we can get it to stay pretty clean like it's been all season long, it's going to be one heck of a race.
Well, you know what? You got a third place here. Congratulations on that. We can't wait to see what you're going to do at Dover. Who would you like to give a shout out here for your podium?
The Miss Linda Haney Memorial. We ran the scheme last week and won, put it in victory lane, and this week we're trying to do the same as it was a sponsor for this race. Got a P3, so can't complain. As well as my team at Blackhawk Motorsports, the Conrad Insurance Group, Vapotrail Clothing, and Pacific Aerial Services, and everyone that supports us at Blackhawk Motorsports.
Well, congratulations again. A solid third place. You've got the Big Mo on your side with a win and then a third. Hopefully you can keep that going next week at Dover.
I hope so too.
Congratulations, Chris. We'll see you next week. That's Chris Berg, our third place finisher. And Joe, I think you caught up with our second place finisher.
Indeed. Steve, this is Joe. You got me?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Hey, man, great run up front all night. You rolled off on the pole. You did lose one spot to Radford, but you two cats were up front all night, man. It was fun to watch. This is the first one of your races that I've had the opportunity to watch, and John and I were talking at the skill level, man. I am super surprised. Walk us through your night. What was your strategy coming in, and how did you hold P2?
The strategy was don't wreck it and holding P2. I think I honestly 1 and 2 felt great. 3 and 4 I struggled, and I think a lot compared to Troy. So I searched all night and really couldn't find anything there. And I think pretty much everybody else in the field struggled there too. It seemed Troy was really the only one that figured it out. So just trying to hold on to the tires as long as possible. 3 and 4 kind of ate it up. So yeah, luckily it was a all green race and we didn't get stacked back up. So pretty fun.
Did you have a pit strategy coming in, or were you driving by the seat of your pants?
Yeah, just with not being able to make it on one stop, just split it into thirds and hope that was best. I think if you went too far in either direction, either a short pit or trying to stay out, it would lose you time in the long run. So just trying to do equal stints and make the most of the tires.
Yeah, man, you came into the night 6th in points, so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Another great run by you, man. Thank you for introducing me to the league. You guys put on one heck of a show. You got anybody you'd like to thank for your second place podium finish?
Yeah, of course. Thank my teammates at Dirty Air. Thanks to Jags, Jess, you guys in the booth, all the drivers for showing up, for making this league what it is. We've had a fun 22 or 23 races. We've got 3 left to go for the season, and hopefully those go green and put on a show just like this one in the last few weeks have been. So.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. That is your second place winner, Steve Baker. John, I think you caught up with our victory lane driver.
Yes, I have. Troy Radford. Troy, you got a copy?
I do. How are you guys doing tonight?
Man, not doing too bad. Another impressive outing by you guys, caution-free on a pretty tricky track, and you picked up your second win, I believe, of the season at another 1.5 miles. Walk me through your night.
Honestly, it was just a good, solid night all the way around. Like no craziness, no, missed anything. So good, hard battling with Steve there in the middle, and then I kind of got a good breakaway where I could kind of control my own pace. So, wanted to save as much tire as I could because of the fall off here, and really just worked out in my favor. This isn't the kind of track that I typically do well at. The 1.5 miles typically are like Steve, Littleton, Roy, Travis. Those guys are so good at the 1.5 miles constantly. So, short tracks are usually real good to me, or tracks that kind of drive like that. So, for me to come away with a win tonight at Kentucky it's a thrill.
Well, you're in the midst of a heck of a points battle here, and this is a good points night for you because I think Brian finished, I do believe, seventh, so this should tighten things back up. Next week, I don't want to call it a wild card, but that track's going to present some unique challenges too, with just the speed and the banking and everything else. What are your thoughts about that? And do you pay attention to where Brian is during the races, or do you concentrate on just running your own race?
I try to concentrate on where I'm. I checked in on him a few times just to, kind of see what was going to happen. It's one of those where the whole season I feel like, yeah, it's a little frustrating. Like I feel like I should be way up in points, but the last 3 weeks I've gotten wrecked out of every race. So it's definitely been a bad 3 weeks leading up into tonight. So I was probably looking at where he was a little more because I mean I went from 15, 16 points up to like 17 points down heading into tonight. So I don't know that it's going to get me there, but it's at least putting me back in the conversation of being there. But Brian's going to be solid the rest of the year, so it's real tough. Dover is a bit of a wild card. I've either been really fast there or really slow, so I'm not sure which one's going to show up next week. But I can guarantee I'm going to be pushing it as much as I can.
Well, I mean, that's a heck of a bounce back. Because if I remember correctly, last week at Talladega, you got taken out there on the last lap, actually not running too bad, and to be able to come back and take the checkered here, that's a great bounce back. And man, I have to say, I've watched you guys all season. You keep doing what you're doing, man. I think you're going to be a player. So I know that you said you're not sure if you're going to be back there yet. I'm going to just call it and say, yeah, you're back in the conversation, bud. Uh, you, like I said, Dover, coming up here, but you said it is a bit of a wild card. But just talk to me just about your strategy, though. I mean, are you more conservative about making a pass? You're not putting yourself in a bad spot, or do you just kind of do what you've been doing the whole season?
I think you just have to look forward. I mean, you know, kind of the bend you take if you try to take the bend don't break defense, you end up losing more often than not, or something weird happens. So I think Dover is one of those tracks that something tends to happen early in the race and wad up a bunch of cars. So I think trying to stay out in front of that will be good. And it's one of those where that's usually like early in the race, big wreck, and then it goes long green flag run. So making sure I've got a good long green flag run car, and my line is consistent and steady and not wearing that right front. I think that's going to be key. Like a little bit of luck to make sure not around anything crazy, but it can definitely happen real quick at Dover.
Well, and here's my final question because you guys all season long, and not just you, but I mean the entire field have put together really clean races. How much practice time do you guys put in prior to these? Is it just the hour before the race, or do you, maybe come in if you got nothing going on, like on a Thursday night, and take some laps or whatever?
So what I've found for me is I come in for the hour practice and I don't touch this car and this track and all that for the rest of the week, because if I sit there and put in a bunch of practice time, practice time, practice time, it just ends up being more frustrating on Sunday night for me because I have those high expectations because of all the time that I put in. So if you look at like practice speeds, typically at the beginning of practice, I'm not as quick as people, and then I get faster as practice goes, just because a lot of times I'm focusing more on long run speed rather than short run speed and things like that. But I also run in two other leagues. I run a Wednesday night league and a Thursday night league too. So the ability to have a family and practice for 3 leagues is not really great.
I can see it. Well, I'm even more impressed now. I mean, I could practice all week and still probably couldn't. Neither one couldn't keep up with you guys, and I'd probably wreck myself within the first 25 laps of one of these things. So, hey, good talking to you, Troy. Congratulations again. Like I said, I believe it's your second win of the season. The floor is yours, and who would you like to give a shout out to?
Big shout out, of course, to Evidence Based Mommy, as well as National Kidney Foundation, Lucky Finn Project, all the guys here who make the broadcast happen. Steve running the league, all of my Falcon teammates. We were kind of short a few people here tonight, but just a lot of time, blood, sweat, and tears, and all that we put into what we're doing. So thank you guys.
Well, again, congratulations. That is Troy Radford, tonight's big winner from Kentucky. And Joe, We're on to Dover next week, and judging by our interviews, I'm thinking we're in for a treat next week. I guess I've been hesitant to say it's a wild card, but sounds like it might be a wild card with one of those where anything can happen kind of races.
Yeah, John. Coming in, I wasn't real sure what to expect out of this this type of racing, but man, I got to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for taking me under your wing, man. I think this was a great race to start with. These guys put on a well of a show, and I'll learn how to read this leaderboard in SDK. I've never lapped down on the lead lap, so I got some work to do. I'll do my homework this week, and come next Sunday when we head back to Dover, man, I'll be ready to go again, and hopefully you don't have to carry me as much as you did tonight. But my brother, I thank you so much for taking me under your wing. We got it done, caution-free at Kentucky, and what a heck of a show. Congratulations to Troy Radford for bringing home the victory in that 94 machine. So, man, I'm looking forward to Dover. I actually walked onto the track at Dover. And you can't tell from the TV screen, but when you walk on that track, man, it is super steep. So I'm looking forward to it. I lived in Dover for a while when I was stationed in the Air Force, and had the opportunity to go check it out. So, man, I'm looking forward to next week. And yeah, man, thank you so much, John. And we will see you next week, my brother.
Absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap for Sunday night. The 94 car getting ready to do a burnout on your screen. Troy Radford brings it home. P1, followed by Baker, Berg, Rigsby. Osborne are your top 5, your points leader. Brian Littleton brings it home P7. So as you've heard throughout the broadcast, next week's going to be a little bit of a wild card. So I thank you all very much for tuning in. What a great night of racing. And until next week, we will see you on the track at Dover. Have a good evening.
This copyrighted broadcast of Extreme eSpeed TV Network is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without express written consent of the Extreme eSpeed TV Network is strictly prohibited. We hope you've enjoyed this broadcast.
Daytona, it's like, oh my
This copyrighted broadcast of Extreme eSpeed TV Network is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without express written consent of the Extreme eSpeed TV Network is strictly prohibited. We hope you've enjoyed this broadcast.